Let's cross up to Queensland and catch up with Nationals MP, former Resources Minister Keith Pitt. We know he's at home in Bundaberg because we've got the maroon scarf over his shoulder, just one win away from another Origin series, and he wouldn't be letting that one slip. Good to talk to you, Keith. Look, we're talking about BHP coming out publicly through the revelation in the Oz of that budget submission about wanting to get rid of the prohibitions against nuclear energy in Australia. It's a very sensible position. I know you support that. And anyway, I was talking on this panel and someone said, yeah, but, you know, that's just BHP. No one's going to do anything about it politically. Surely this is a policy that you are going to take to the next election, not only to get rid of those prohibitions, but to do something proactive about starting a domestic nuclear industry in this country.
Chris, BHP is a global company. I mean, they're dealing with governments in other countries right around the world. They know what the trends are, they know what people are doing, and what they're doing is they're going nuclear because it's the only way to achieve some of this madness around climate policies, because it is zero emissions, it is reliable and it works. Now, Peter Dutton made that commitment in the budget reply speech. We will be absolutely taking those policies to the next election, a decision for the people. And in terms of the prohibition, well, some of that's already been lifted. Some legislation went through the Parliament in the last couple of weeks, but only for the construction of submarines in Adelaide. So if we can do that, we can definitely do reactors on the ground.
Yeah, but how much detail can we expect? I mean, what we need is real movement on this and as soon as possible, don't we?
Well, August means almost every element has to be addressed, whether it's the Coalition or Labor. The only thing that remains is lifting the prohibition for baseload power in Australia, on land, on a block of concrete, and the locations of where those reactors might go. And I think that's the core part of the business that we need to focus on.
Is the most likely location those places where we've seen major coal-fired generators close down, where there is that industrial base and there's also that transmission in place? We're talking about the Hunter Valley in New South Wales, the Latrobe Valley in Victoria and the Iron Triangle in South Australia?
Oh, that absolutely makes sense. There's big water supplies there too, because they need it for their ash plants and cooling water. But you do have to check the geotech. You've got to make sure it's not prone to earthquakes or any other type of natural disaster that might increase your risk, and those assessments need to be done.
Now, tell us also in the energy space, the idea that they're trying to phase out our gas appliances, our gas hot water, our gas stoves. We're all supposed to be going to electric, which is a kind of a weird thing to be doing when our electricity prices are going through the roof and we're facing unreliable supplies of electricity.
Oh, because the best way to get power prices down is to have more demand, Chris. You know, that's how Labor works. But I warned the Australian people, the Coalition warned the Australian people. I said outright in question time that this was the plan from Labor's Environmental Action Network, and Mr Burke scoffed at it and said it wasn't true and it was a fantasy and I was making it up. Well, guess what? They're coming for your gas appliances. They've said as much, particularly in Victoria, and I just think it's nuts. We won't be giving up our gas cookers at home, mate. I know that.
Yeah, indeed.